I'm Michael Heidinger for Radio St. Rose, and today I'll be speaking to folk rock musician Chris Wilhelm about his songs, his projects, and his musical journey from New York to Boston to Asheville, North Carolina.
Hey son, what gotta tell you when you're out there on your own? Some will lend you trouble, give you guidance, lesson learned. And I know Sue's gonna say, won't be your pilot, why don't you stay? But you liberate me, steal like a pirate, no code out to sea. But you must be determined if you're gonna tell me anyway. But you seem unaffected, still you gaze endlessly. And I'll be your navigator when you're lonely, when things go bad. You may feel kind of angry, don't be worried and don't be sad.
You grew up in Hudson, New York. Tell us about your musical background.
Yeah, so let's see. The first band I really got into was the Beatles, and then later was punk music, and had a punk band for a while, and we had like 3 shows, and that was it.
That was it.
Yes, that was like age 16. Yep.
So, what kind of punk music was going on at that time?
Well, we were doing like punk music, like 80s style, like Black Flag and Subhuman. There actually wasn't a lot of punk going on at that time, though.
So you were going against the grain then.
Yeah, we were doing an older style of music. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's quite a different style from what you mainly play now, and which is sort of a folk rock. When did you start playing that kind of music?
Let's see. Folk rock I got into, early around 2000. I really got into Bob Dylan, and like the band, and even Dave Matthews. That really led me to folk rock, and some Ani DeFranco.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I knew about the Bob Dylan influence. Like, I've seen your CD collection, which is a huge stack of Dylan CDs.
Yes.
But
yes.
And even the Dave Matthews, I was aware of that. But the Ani DeFranco's, that's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I like Ani. He's good. He's good. She's definitely a folk artist,
Yep. And eventually you moved to Albany. When did that actually happen?
That was around the year 2000.
And were there any reasons why you chose Albany?
Bigger music scene.
Well, some
Bigger
than Hudson, yes. Some people in Albany would say that it's not a very big music scene.
Yeah. It was funny because actually in 2000 and in 2001, there was actually a really growing scene there, and there used to be an open mic at the Lark Street Restaurant. I think it was Lark Street Restaurant. It was really quite booming for a while, and then it just kind of fizzled out around 2002.
Eventually, you kind of branched out and decided to try coffee houses more than nightclubs. Was that a good switch?
Yeah, for singer songwriter, it's a good switch. Because bands definitely do better in the clubs, and you have more of a listening audience in the coffee house. Yeah.
Although I remember when the Moon and River Cafe in Schenectady first opened up.
Yes.
That was Richard Jeanette's little coffee house.
Yeah.
He wanted a little quiet set. You actually brought a full band and a PA system.
You got a good memory, man.
that was a good time, because he was all worried about how loud it was going to be, and actually now I can walk past that place and I hear bands with not bands but folk artists with PA systems and everything. So
you do?
Yeah. Yep. Apparently, you must have broke him in, and got him used to that.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wow.
Another highlight when you were here in the Albany scene, I remember that you opened up for the Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was very cool.
And where was that again?
That was at the College of Pharmacy.
Okay.
College of Pharmacy, yep.
And how did you actually get that gig?
My percussionist, Bernie Shallons.
Okay.
He lined it up. So, yeah. That was fun. There was a lot of people for that one.
Yeah, they're a popular band.
Yes. That was very cool. That was really cool to go on the resume.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Overall, though, eventually you got worn out on the local music scene in Albany, and you decided to move to Boston.
Yes.
Any reason why you chose that city?
Even bigger music scene.
Why not New York or L.A.?
Well, it was a choice between New York and Boston, and I had visited Boston previously, and there was something about it that really drew me in, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and New York just felt a little too overwhelming for me, and I just wanted to take another step that made sense. It just made sense. You take the baby steps towards things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And New York just felt too big to me, at the time.
Okay. And how was the music scene in Boston? I know that before you've told me that there's sort of different music scenes in different neighborhoods. Yes.
Well, at the time, it was very good. I actually stumbled upon a coffee house called Club Passim. In my first week of being there, it's in Harvard Square, and I just happened to go there, and it was open mic, and the quality of musicians was just through the roof. It was just, I was like, this is the big time, I mean? These are the big guys, And at Club Passim, it's a legendary folk club, like Bob Dylan had played there. And, there was an 80s revival of folk, and Susan Vega played there, and Sean Coven, and so it's really, even Tom Waits has played there, and it's such a legendary room. It's called Club Passim.
You have also played on the T, the subway system in Boston.
Yes.
How often did you do that, and what was your experience like?
Oh my God! Well, for a while it was full time, so I would go down there 5 days a week, and my longest day down there was I played for 6 hours. And yeah.
Was it profitable?
It all depended. Sometimes I'd make $80 in an hour and a half. Sometimes I would make $20 for 2 hours. It was all random,
Yep.
But it really taught me a lot about performing. Building chops, and the more you play, the more you become a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
One of your songs, Hard Times in the City, seems to be inspired by those experiences of playing in the Boston subway system.
Oh, yeah. You have that album, huh?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yes, it totally is. the money in my jar can go very far, but it's still a fine day to be living. Yeah. Yep.
I played in the subway for a long time, and I stopped for a while. I kind of thought I had graduated from the subway, but I've started again. And this song is probably most influenced by subway performing, called Hard Times in the City. We hopped on the train, 1942. We had all that we could do just to make it through. Traveled through the night once we left Mexico. Settled down in Maryland, for me and Susie had to go. It's not easy chasing dreams, so we moved to New York City, search of bigger things. And Susie started sleeping late, and I just ached from the work that I did down on the streets. The money in my jar isn't gonna go very far. Still, it's a fine day to be living. The sun's still coming up, struggling to make a buck. Still, it's hard times in the city. Hard times in the city.
Part of the reason why I started playing the subway was I really was into this artist, Meg Hutchinson. She was playing the subway. And I had met a friend of mine. I went and saw her live, and I said, what does she do? And he said, she plays the subway full time. Oh wow, I could do that. And there's a sense of honor about it. Like Tracy Chapman had played the subway before, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Martin Sexton.
I have, but I'm not that familiar with him or his music.
Yeah. Well, he was a subway artist too. So there's kind of this legacy of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, the sense of honor to play the subway.
So during this period, you had given up a day job. You were doing music full-time at this point?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that's something that a lot of musicians never get to experience.
Yeah. I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Well, it must have felt liberating in a way to be doing what you love full time and to be able to make at least some kind of a living with it.
Oh yeah, it is a good feeling. It's at the time it was very stressful too, but it was very good to just jump into it and just go for it.
Yep. Exactly.
Build character.
Well, I mean, character. I mean, that always. Musicians need that because it reflects in their songs.
Oh yeah.
And if you're just sitting in your room practicing all day and all night and not living your life, it's gonna show up in your music.
This is true.
And speaking of your music, let's start with your first album, This Train's Not Going Slow.
Yes.
A lot of these songs I recognize from when you were playing in the Albany scene.
Yes.
But they were actually recorded when you got to Boston, right?
Mhm. Yeah. The Train album, Train's Not Going Slow, is the analog tape, which is my favorite. And I really love the charm about that record is that it was recorded to tape.
Come on, get on. This train's not going slow. Get on. Come on, get on. This train's not going slow. Get on. Captain, can you keep the engines going? Know you've been working through the night. Life is always set in motion. Power's working through the night. Come on, get on. This train's not going slow. Get on. Come on, get on. This train's not going slow. Get on.
Your second album is Glory, Filth, and Fame. Was that recorded during the Boston years?
Yes. It was recorded with Steve Friedman. It was cut to live in one weekend, the same as the Train album, with musicians that we had one rehearsal, and then we just went and recorded it.
Yeah, I like the sound of that album. It's a very spontaneous feel to it.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's the opposite of how a lot of music gets made these days, where it's people at a computer, all day and all night, just meticulously placing different instruments here and there, and it's the exact opposite of sitting in a room with a bunch of musicians and just pressing record.
Well, yeah, but it is kind of refreshing though, because there is kind of there's a little bit of a movement going on with like the Lumineers and Mumford and Son.
Yes. Yep.
And, they're doing their recordings live in the room now, so it's refreshing that that's happening.
1, 2, 3. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there. Think I figured it all out. There's so much crap to worry about. Chemicals in our dogs, or the homeless polar bear. Did blood ever really wash away? I used to think everything was okay. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there. Lawyers speak in terms that I will never understand. Polar bear swims for food, 'cause there's no ice below him. Guess there's no one else to blame, 'cause his mama taught him well to be a fisherman. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there. Poor little polar bear, swimming around up there.
Your third album, Just Asking, now that was recorded in Asheville, because you eventually decided to leave Boston and move to Asheville, North Carolina.
Yes.
Was that set up the same with just a bunch of musicians in a room and press record?
No, that was the only one that's been done differently. That one was tracking, where I played the guitar first to a click track, and then I sang, and then everything went on top of it.
Okay.
So that was the only one that was tracked. It was the only one done differently.
Let me tell you my story. I was born in a barge in the Ninth Ward. People talk about it like I'm some sort of experiment from another planet. Maybe someday we'll live on Mars. The town and the city have a different song. While one's asleep, the other's on the go. Well, I'd rather sit here and ask the question, why do you make me miss you so? Man built pyramids never to collapse. With no integrity, things don't seem to last. I just don't know where to go. I just don't know where to go.
What eventually made you decide to leave Boston and move to Asheville, North Carolina?
Well, I kept hearing about how great Asheville was in the music scene, and just kept hearing there's music festivals, this music scene is great, and I was drawn more towards a country folk sound, and I felt like I would do better in the South than in Boston, because a lot of music that I was listening to kind of came out of the South too, like Townes Van Zandt, and I started getting into even Willie Nelson. I really liked a lot, and I was just drawn to the South more, and I kept hearing about it, so I put together a tour, and I came down here, and I loved it.
One passenger in this town, happy face, bubblegum meltdown. You can say this city's your home, but I don't wanna hear your screams out my window. And no one's ever got the time to crucify you like a diamond, wait for you at the finish line. You're waiting for your drink to spill, but there's no doubt about it, you can't get a refill. Asheville, you've been on my mind. I can hardly sleep at night, I got you on my mind. Asheville, you are so unkind. No, you are so far away and I ain't got a dime.
You have a new project called the Wilhelm Brothers. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, it's me and Christoph plays cello. Well, what happened was we were in another band called Wilhelm. We put out an ad for German cellists, and then he showed up.
German cellists.
Yes. No, that's not the way it happened, but that's what we tell everybody. we were working on a studio album and for Wilhelm project, and the guy said, I know somebody that would fit well. And Christoph came in, and right from the first note, we played this song together called Trail of the Lonesome Pine. And right from the first note, we just clicked. You know, it was like he was smiling, and I was smiling. It was just, you know, it was just the right fit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And everybody asks us if we're brothers. Everywhere we go. We go.
Are you brothers?
I can't tell you that. We're brothers in music.
Okay.
And, yeah. And, you know, the feedback is just great. We're doing a duo right now, and we just got off tour, and the feedback's been great. And, you know, it's just the two of us. We're doing indie folk sound, and, you know, we're doing a lot. We're doing like 20 shows a month right now.
Now, that's the combination of acoustic guitar and cello isn't normally one that people think of when they think of duos.
That's what people tell us. That's what people tell us.
But are you winning people over?
We are.
Okay. Are you playing mostly your songs, or are you writing new songs?
I am writing new songs, and we're doing a mix of old songs. Navigator's still on the set list. Walk On Man's still on the set list. Katie Don't, The Go Between, But it's a lot of new stuff. There's songs, Endless Skyway, which is going to be on our new record, Trail of the Lonesome Pine, Dare to Dream, Lay Your Burden Down, Perfect Isolation. There's a lot of new stuff.
And I understand that you've actually been working with a producer who has worked with Lenny Kravitz before?
Yes. And Michael Jackson.
And Michael Jackson.
And Mick Jagger.
And Mick Jagger.
And Madonna.
Nice. Madonna, too.
And Lionel Richie.
And how has that been going? Is it still in progress, or are you close to finishing?
It's done. 4 days. We did 6 songs and mixed and mastered, and it's ready to be completed. I just confirmed the artwork today, and it should be out shortly.
And is it actually just you two, acoustic guitar and cello, or are there, overdubbed instruments as well?
There is only drums along with us. Henry Hirsch, he knew a drummer that he worked with, Ernesto, this guy is amazing. And it's really, 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 really good. Yeah.
I look forward to hearing it.
Oh, God, it was just amazing to work with Henry. Like, wow. We went through the vocals. He wanted a copy of the lyrics, and we went through line by line, making sure everything was correct. And him too. He recorded on analog tape, and it's live on the tape, which is really cool.
When is the new album, due to be released?
May 3rd.
Is this where your musical future is headed, as opposed to, say, having a full band behind you?
We're doing great as a duo. We are doing great as a duo. We could see working with a drummer as a 3-piece, and I would say that's it. If we're going to expand, if we find the right person, it would just be one more person, and that would be some sort of drummer percussion. But we're doing good as a duo, and we'll continue to do the duo as long as we can. It's easy, too. We fit in the car this way, And we did before, too. We had 3 people that used to fit into my Honda station wagon.
Thank you, Chris, for talking with us here today.
Of course, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.